Laker insider Mike Bresnahan. And from The Athletic, Bill Oram, or is it the Oregonian? It's so sad. I can't.
I'm not. The camera needs to be on her. There it is.
I can't do it. I can't do it. I wasn't ready for this. I wasn't ready.
So soon. It's our first and last Billy O show.
Just kidding.
We voted just you, Bill.
We are so excited for you.
Thank you.
Truly.
I appreciate it very much.
Can we turn this music into some Beyonce? It is your last show. We're excited.
Yeah,
obviously.
I've been joining you guys here on Spectrum for 9 years. It's been a big part of my life, as has been covering the Lakers. But as you alluded to, moving on, I have a new opportunity to go back home, native of Oregon. So, pretty cool opportunity, but does mark the end of our time here on set.
And you get to be a columnist, so you're not just, married to one team. You can write about Oregon Ducks, Oregon State football, obviously Blazers basketball, soccer, whatever else, high school stuff. You can kind of pick your own poison, so to speak. A lot of variety coming your way. Congrats.
Thanks so much, Brez. And Brez, you were the you were one of my first beat partners, I think, or not partner, but one of my first competitors on the beat, back when I started covering the Lakers in 2013, a lot of games sitting next to you, wondering what you were typing up on that computer of yours.
And it was always nothing smart.
It was always intimidating when Brez would take his computer off the table and put it in his lap and lean back so you couldn't read over his shoulder.
That's just because I was more comfortable doing that. That's all that was.
It wasn't
No. I just like typing in my lap.
Now you tell me.
Wow, we could do a whole A block on that.
We could.
One thing's for sure, I'm so excited because you're going home, and I know that matters to you. It's special. Your family, you're excited about it. We're going to do our best to send you off the right way, and the only way we know how. So get ready.
Talking about Summer League rosters?
Go. There'll be more to that. But no, we're excited to have you here, and we'll get this edition of Access started with the latest on Lakers guard Russell Westbrook, because Russ has decided to opt in to the final year of his $47 million contract with the purple and gold. Westbrook is coming off one of the worst statistical seasons of his career, but there is optimism throughout the franchise that Russ can bounce back next season. And on draft night, GM Rob Pelinka spoke about his vision for Westbrook next season.
I think Darvin and I have had meetings with Russ and have just been honest about how we think he fits with this team and what we expect of him next year if he decides to opt in and be here. And he's ready to embrace a philosophy of defense first as well, and he's made that clear to Darvin and me if he chooses to come back. But he hasn't given a final decision on that yet, and he has more days to figure all that out with his family. But if he comes back, he will be embraced here with open arms, and want to put a path in front of him to have a successful season.
Bill, we're not talking Summer League rosters just yet. We're going to talk Russ first, and I'll start with you. Surprise at all? We expected this,
correct? Listen, if Russell Westbrook were an unrestricted free agent coming off the season he just had, maybe there's a team that takes a flyer on him with mid-level exception. But even then, you're talking about a $37 million pay cut. So to me, it's not even about selfish and wanting the money. Russell Westbrook puts a lot of money into his community, into his foundation. He understands the power of that amount of money. There was just never a scenario where he was going to turn that down. And that's why I thought the whole facade of, well, we can't talk about Russ until we know what he's going to do was a little bit of a red herring, because that was never going to end any other way. But now, I thought that, what you heard from Rob Pelinka was basically setting an expectation and basically a litmus test for Russell Westbrook to have a successful season. He needs to come in and play defense. He needs to embrace this thing that has not been a part of his game in recent years, and this idea of really adapting to play with LeBron James. If he's still here, I thought Rob Pelinka basically set a standard that if Russell Westbrook isn't hitting, gives the Lakers an avenue to potentially bench him or move on some other way.
Yeah, no surprise at all to me. Look, only 4 teams in the entire league have good cap space, and none of those could get up to $47 million if they wanted to sign Russell Westbrook. So absolutely.
Which they don't.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he's his mid-30s almost. He's coming off, like you said, Ali, a career low season in many categories across the board. The only player I've ever seen, Bill and Ali, correct me if I'm wrong, who has declined an option even in this ballpark was Chris Paul with Phoenix a couple years ago. Why? So he could sign a longer deal. Obviously, that was not the case here. He opted in. And the thing about Kyrie, and is he going to opt out of his $37 million to try to get six with somebody?
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer for Russ to do this. His agent, his family, and him, I'm sure they're all like, of course, we're doing this.
Yeah. Did you expect the Can't Break My Soul, Won't Break My Soul Beyonce soundtrack?
No.
As he delivered the news?
That's when I actually started to tear up, kind of like you did a few minutes ago. It's...
That is not going to. That song is not going to break your soul.
Okay, no,
that is not going to make you tear up.
But no, it's a big day for him. He worked hard to secure this contract 5 years ago, whenever it was, and if he wants to play the last year of it, obviously his prerogative.
Okay, so now that this seems pretty official, you think of the big three: win healthy, best case scenario, them working out.
Listen, if the Lakers are, if LeBron, AD, and Russell Westbrook are healthy, I think the Lakers are in the 6-7 range in the West. And it's not because it's not, and listen, not being in the play-in, honestly, would be a success after the way the last couple of years have gone. LeBron and AD are obviously, an incredible tandem. Maybe Russ finds a way to fit. But I think health is the biggest thing to avoid another sort of, quote-unquote disaster season. But to me, the top of the West is still really, really stacked and getting better when you look at the guys coming back in Denver and obviously Kawhi coming back with the Clippers. Maybe you look at Utah. Maybe that's a team that finished, has kind of consistently been near the top of the West as a team that might be falling off. But otherwise, it's more really, really good teams moving into the top of the West, which makes it, just really crowded territory for the Lakers. So I think, maybe if you have those three, you get through a year where you make the playoffs, you have some, and then you have more options next summer when Russ comes off the books.
Yeah, you look at teams like the Dallas Mavericks improving themselves by adding a guy like Christian Wood, for basically a one-year trial run with him. They're probably going to lose Jalen Brunson. It's not official yet. We'll find out in a few days. But these teams are good, and they're young. So the Lakers have to stay healthy first and foremost. As for Russ, Bill, I don't know about you, but when Darvin had his introductory press conference a couple weeks ago, looking around, kind of taking stock, which players are here? Okay, there's Austin Reeves. All right, there's Wenyen Gabriel. Is that Russ walking through the door? I mean, easily the biggest named Laker player of that day to get into that press conference. He wants to start off on the right foot with Darvin. And Darvin said all the right things at that press conference to start off well with Russ. I think he said, don't get it twisted. This guy still has a lot left in the tank.
Well, I mean, everybody needs that to be true. And it's in everyone's best interest for Russ to come back and to play well, right? Like Russ is coming off a bad year, which obviously hurts his image around the league, driving even lower than it had been previously. Darvin Ham needs to have a successful first year to set himself up for kind of long-term success here. The front office needs Russ to work out to sort of acquit themselves for the trade, which so far doesn't look that great in retrospect. Looks like a poor decision. So everyone kind of needs this to work if there's not an easy out. And there just isn't an easy out. So it's in everyone's best interest to say and do the right things and put the right, like you said, put the right foot forward going into next season.
We shall see. Here's a look at the highest paid players heading into next season. And there are two Lakers on this short list. Steph Curry at the top, $48.1 million. James Harden, $47.4. And then you've got Russ and LeBron, $47.1 and $44.5 million, respectively. We are changing gears for a moment because Russ opted into his contract. And you know who else opted in?
Not me.
Nets star Kyrie Irving. Exactly, not you, Bill. Kyrie is picking up his option for next season for $36.5 million. There was plenty of speculation recently that he might opt out. According to media reports, the Nets could not find another team to satisfy a sign-and-trade deal. So for now, Kyrie remains a member of the Brooklyn Nets. This, however, sounds like something you would say, Bill. After
Absolutely
reporting
not.
that Kyrie was opting